but feel free to jump in. But what we're going to talk about tonight is why are some people really successful at network marketing? And obviously, particularly, we're going to talk about Young Living because that's what we do and that's what we know. We've never done any other network marketing, just FYI. This is it for us. So some people seem really successful and other people just feel like they can't do it at all. So we're going to talk about why is that and really break that down tonight. And hopefully everyone will leave here feeling empowered that we can all do it because we can. So my opinion is the first and foremost reason that most people fail at network marketing or are not successful, let me say it that way, at network marketing is because they don't understand residual income. If everyone truly had an understanding of residual income, everybody would want to do network marketing. I mean, truly, there is no glass ceiling. No one can hold you back. No one can prevent you from going as far with it as you want to go. It's not like the corporate world where so much of the time when we work really, really hard, at least this was the way it was for me when I was in the corporate world. You know, you work really, really hard, you do a really good job. And instead of people reaching a hand down and pulling you up, they might be trying to kick you off the ladder. You know, they didn't want
give you more work.
Yeah, they didn't want you competing with them. They didn't want you to be promoted. They didn't.
If you were a mediocre employee like me,
they were afraid that you were going to get ahead of them or get a bonus or something, you know. But in network marketing, truly, it's in everyone that is above you. It's in their best interest for you to be successful so that they're successful. And thankfully, we have a great lineage in Young Living where we have a lot of amazing people that not for their own success, but because they love other people and want them to meet their goals and visions and dreams and want them to have all the things that they want for themselves and their family. So they're going to reach down and help pull us up. So that's really amazing. But if we all understood residual income, which hopefully everyone on here does, the truly residual income is doing the work once and getting paid on it from now on. So, you know, when I taught my first class 6 years ago, there are people that enrolled then that are still journeying with me. They're still ordering products every single month. So I did that class and I'm still getting money from that. You know, it's no different than when a songwriter writes a song or records a song or a book writer writes a book or, you know, those types of things. It's the same thing. So it's not trading our time for money, you guys. And that's the typical 40-40-40 that most of us, Frank and I for sure, that was the way we were raised and that was what was ingrained to us. You know, you work 40 years of your life.
40 hours a week.
Go ahead.
And retire with 40% of what you were making when you were working.
And still couldn't live. So a good life.
But we're subconsciously, we're brainwashed subconsciously to go to college or go to trade school or go get a job right out of high school and work, and hopefully retire with something and be somewhat comfortable.
And we're not against going to college or trade school or having a job or any of that. None of that. We have that. We have all that.
That's just the way it's supposed to be. It's
yes.
Kind of like we're indoctrinated with doctors and listening to what they tell us.
Western medicine.
We listen to our parents. We listen to society. And again, I think that back in the day, when they talk about the American dream and owning a house, and that wasn't the real American dream. It was the American dream to go to work and get people work at an assembly line really well. Which is not, again, there's nothing wrong with that, but that's what school trains people to do, is to like follow orders. Just me.
Yeah. So the second reason is people quit early on because they don't reach their goals that they set. And that may be an actual goal that you took time to write down, you took time to think about it and write it down, or it may just be more of a subconscious thing. And honestly, you guys, when we are in network marketing, we are going to do the most work up front for the least pay, because we've got to build that foundation. You know, I said I taught that first class, so that started a foundation. The second class, the third, the 20th, the 200th, right? And so early on, I did a lot of teaching for not a lot of return. But there comes a point where then the other people start enrolling, network marketing, right? And sharing and enrolling people. And you start getting, you know, you rank, your OGV goes up. So you're getting paid more levels down. You start to get bonuses when you hit rising star bonus, or when you hit silver and you get generational bonuses. So then the money, it begins to change. And silver is really the place that for most people that switch is flipped on. It really changes at that point. So not getting the return that we think we should get, and so people just give up. So I think about when I was first sharing, and how many times I did set up for a class that no one came to. Anybody here ever had a no-show class? It really stinks, doesn't it? Like, that's no fun. It's discouraging. And you got ready for it and you cleaned your house up. Well, back then I was cleaning my house up because it was at my house, you know, and I cleaned my house up and all that good stuff, and nobody came. So if I would have just got discouraged after the first one or the 10th one and I would have quit, I wouldn't be sitting here today as a diamond.
And we've seen that happen over and over. There's people that get their starter kit, they get really excited. Maybe they talk to a family member or two, and they do enroll a couple people, so they get a little check, which is great. And they're ready to take that next step, and they say, yeah, I'm going to have a class. And it could be even inviting people to other people's classes. It could be having their own class, and 35 people said they're coming and they're excited, and you go to help them with their class or whatever, and 2 people come. And so what that does to those people sometimes, it's just it's a mindset thing. I put in all this effort. I had these people that now they lied to me and said they were coming, didn't come. I feel like a fool, and I don't want to put myself in that position again, so I'm out. And that's about the biggest mistake anybody can make, because if we quit the first time nobody showed up for a class, I say, we, Rhonda, nobody would be here, because there would be our family in the group, and that was about it.
Yeah.
So you can't get discouraged. You can't get depressed when your goals aren't met. And the goal could be getting people to class. The goal could be making $100, whatever your goal is. When you don't hit it right away, you can't quit, and you can't get distracted.
You may need to pivot, and you have to be willing to pivot. And that's something that sometimes is hard for us to understand as well. So if we consistently are doing something that's not working, then we need to go talk to someone that has been successful with what we are attempting to do, and get some advice, and be coachable and listen to them.
Not do it exactly the way they do it, to make it yours.
Right.
Find out what they were doing.
And be willing to make some changes. So the next thing is that I want to say is to be fair to yourself. Seriously, write this down, put it on your mirror, but give yourself a minimum of 4 years. And that may sound like a long time, but it's not a long time.
And we're not talking 4 years full-time.
No.
Working and living. We're talking 4 years part-time, not interfering with your family life or your other real job. It's a part-time deal. For most people, it's a part-time deal. It was a part-time deal. Quite frankly, we still have other stuff going on. But up until last year, we had 2 other businesses that we were running. So this was a part-time gig for us.
So give yourself that 4 years. And if you guys, I hope everybody here has The 4-Year Career by Richard Bliss Brooke. Hopefully you do. If you don't, get that book. It's small. It's very, I posted already in World Changers that we're going to do a Bible study. Bible study. Where's my mind?
We don't think that Richard's book is Bible.
No, I don't. But maybe you could think that was on my mind earlier. So we're going to do a book study on that book, in his book in September. So grab that book if you don't have it. I don't know whether I don't think it's online available, is it?
There might be
maybe an Audible.
Bliss Business, I believe it is. They might have an audio, or they might have
an ebook. I'm not sure. But anyway, get it. It's small. It's like 80 pages, 60
90,
pages,
yeah.
something. So trust me when I say, but it's powerful. So get that. We're going to go through that.
And if you are gonna go buy the Young Living edition, not,
Yeah.
there's a bunch of different editions. The Young
Can
Living
you
edition. will
repeat the
have-
name of that book?
The 4-year career.
In the
Type
Young
it
Living
too.
edition, we'll have some stories of some higher ups in Young Living, and how they did what they did. In the 4 years that Ron is talking about, isn't 4 years like these 2 months off, 6 months, another 2 months off, 6 months? It's 4 years doing something every,
Well,
I'm gonna
consistently.
say every day, which I really think you gotta put something in every day. It doesn't have to be 4 hours, but I mean, it's gotta be 15 or 20 minutes a day. And if you can knock off an hour on Saturdays and Sundays, great, but consistent 4 years, something to intentionally help yourself.
Okay, so everybody, I typed that in the chat. So hopefully you can see it. If you can't, then let me know again and we'll
Young
We'll
Living
do that
edition,
again.
Young Living edition.
There we go, Young Living Edition. Okay, so being consistent, we have to be consistent. So the majority of people that I work with, that I coach with and things that get, they get frustrated and they reach out and they're like, I really need some help. And we start writing down, what did you do last week? What did you do the week before that? What did you do the last 3 months? And it's really not a lot. And they realize once they start writing it down and they start talking to me about it, that they really aren't being consistent. So make sure that you're consistent. An accountability partner is huge. So I love having cross-line accountability partners, and I have that myself, because they're just, what's the word I want?
They're more of an honest mirror.
Yeah, but yeah, I can't, there's a word I want.
I don't know.
But there'll be, and somebody that you can be transparent with, and someone that'll be transparent with you, because it doesn't do us any good to have that accountability or to be in a coaching situation with someone and not be honest and open.
We're the master of making excuses
So,
and getting distracted and then rationalizing why we didn't do something today or yesterday or last week. We got busy. The kids had a soccer game. My grandmother died. I mean, there's good excuses, but there's still excuses. I say that a lot, but it's true. So you can either let the excuses take control of your business and not do anything, or get through that dilemma, whatever you think it is, and then do something to forward yourself.
yeah. Lisa, thank you. So I can, and again, speaking for myself, I got really distracted and I had a good reason. Most of you know that my sister was diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer several years ago, journeyed through that hard battle. She lost the battle, and I was her person. So yes, I was sidetracked. Yes, I wasn't as consistent as I should have been. And yes, I had a good reason. I did what I could do, what I felt like I could do, and still take care of other things that needed to be taken care of and spend time with her. So thankfully, Young Living is structured that I could do that. I did lose momentum. I did lose some ground during those years. And I had to work really, really hard for the 2 years after that to really get back in and get things back to going.
Get your mojo.
So yeah, and it was hard. So while I wouldn't change what the way I did it, I'm just saying that thankfully Young Living was structured so I could. But once we step back, we really have to push hard to get back into the groove. So unless you have something like that, a life event that really forces you to step back, I would encourage you to stay connected. The next thing that we allow to happen to us is when someone doesn't enroll, or someone enrolls somewhere else, or they blow us off, whatever that looks like, we take that personally. And we just can't. We just cannot take it personally. It's not a personal rejection. If I'm sharing Young Living with someone and they don't enroll with me, or they don't enroll right now, for the most part, I have had a few people go enroll with somebody else, and yeah, it stinks. Like, that just stinks. But it's not the end of the world, and it's not rejection of me. It was just a better fit for them, or they felt like it was a better fit for them at the time. Most of the time when someone doesn't join Young Living that I've been sharing with, it's because they're just not ready. So I never write them off. I have a not for now list, and I'll touch base with them, but I continue to build relationship with them, or have relationship with them. And every once in a while, or when they're around me, they're going to see me using my product. They're going to see me post about it once in a while on Facebook. I'm going to talk about it because I love it. So they're going to continue to get exposed to it. And if they're not someone that's around me often, every few months, I'm just going to touch base with them. And not necessarily about Young Living, just about life. So don't write them off, you guys. Literally, I've enrolled people 7 or 8 years after I've shared with them. So don't ever write them off, and don't take it personally.
Yeah. She's on a roll. So here's my take on that. If somebody doesn't, if we're all working a business, we should all be on Essential Rewards. And not just because we're working a business, because of how good of a deal it is, because of the
We're living the
buyback
life.
you get, and the points and the whole thing. Free stuff on the promos. If we do a good job explaining Essential Rewards to the people on our team, they'll be on Essential Rewards too. So when people aren't on Essential Rewards, generally it's not really a money thing. They might say it's a money thing. It might be a good excuse, but it's because they don't understand the value of the products, and that they can not buy stuff at Walmart or wherever and buy stuff from themselves and really not spend a lot more money with using good product from Young Living. Same thing when you ask somebody to enroll in Young Living as a prospect. If they tell you no, it's not because they don't have the money. It's because they don't value the product, or they don't value what you told them. Not they don't believe what you're saying, but you haven't done a good job explaining the value of that premium starter kit. Because if something's worth $400, it doesn't have to be Young Living. If you have a $400 widget that's worth $400 and people know it's worth $400, you go, I'll give it to you for $200. They're going to buy it. I mean, that's just how it is. So generally, they haven't seen the value of that starter kit at $400. So we need to work on our presentation, or what we're saying, or how we're explaining it, or what we believe about it. And that's where the issue is to me.
We have to provide value to people. So one of my affirmations every single day as I'm putting on my oils and praying and doing my morning thing is I affirm that I will add value to every person I come in contact with. And sometimes I do, and sometimes I miss it. But my goal is to do that with every person. And that doesn't mean that I beat them over the head with Young Living. That means that I add value to their life in some form or fashion, right? So if we approach life in general with that mindset, then what we sow is what we're going to reap. So we're going to get back a harvest, whether it is from them or someone else, but good things are going to come to us, and just across the board. I totally believe that.
And then can I say something else again?
Yep.
In World Changers, I put in something about the 4-year career. It's a quote that Richard made about, and I'll read it. The average network marketer never creates enough success to warrant doing anything beyond buying product at wholesale. So I asked, why did you think he said that? And most people answered, because it's hard work and people don't put in hard work. And I say, yeah, you're right. People don't usually work very hard at it. But here's the thing. When you invest $165 in a premium starter kit to start a business that literally could turn into a multi-million-dollar business in a couple of years, they don't take it seriously. They don't have enough skin in the game. When you spend $1,000 on a class, you're going to go to class and learn it, right? If you're in college or whatever. Somebody goes, oh, come on in. You can come listen to this thing for free. And it's every Tuesday and Thursday night. And you're not getting what you want those first 2 nights. Kind of the next week, you're kind of like, well, it didn't cost me. But if you paid, you're going, right? It's that same concept to me. Is you have a business that you started with less than $200. People in our upline have a business that started with us $200. Our overall sales in just our group, Rhonda and Frank's group and down, is over $5 million a year. Okay, in sales, not commission, in sales. And that started with a $150 premium starter kit back in the day. It wasn't a big investment. So when you don't have that big investment in there, it's great because you can start a multi-million-dollar business for a little bit of money, but people don't take it seriously. They put it on the back burner because it's not got a big value to them. So as a business builder, if you want to build a business, you need to change your mindset and act like you spent $50,000 trying to get in the business, which is what most normal businesses cost. I mean, tens of thousands of dollars, whether it's rent, overhead, employees, whatever. So that's the point I think he was trying to make is, and don't take this the wrong way either. Not that many people are making money in any network marketing company. So that person who's just a wholesale product buyer is a good person to have on your team. That's what we're looking for, because you're not going to have a whole bunch of business builders. Out of 100 people, you might have 2. So be thankful for the people that just are product users. But if you want to be a business builder, you need to act like a business builder and not act like a hobby.
Correct. So the next thing that is a big downfall is we don't take the time or see the need for personal development and for professional development. And it is a learning process. And at each different rank, so to speak, each different level within Young Living, what I have learned is comes different responsibilities. So they continue to grow and they continue to change. So my role continues to change somewhat. There's some things that are very consistent, but some things can, change. The higher up we rank. So what I have experienced, again, and I really, I want to be real and talk to you guys from what I personally have experienced, and to save you hopefully from some of the same pitfalls that I've got myself into. Whenever I have plateaued, you guys know what I'm talking about when I say plateau. When you feel like your business is just flat, or maybe you even feel like you're going backwards, and it's just not. It's just, you just don't feel like you have that forward momentum. And that's not a fun place to be. It's really frustrating. You feel like you're kind of beating your head against the wall sometimes and things like that. Been there, done that. Sure, I'll be there and do that again. So it's a part of the growing process. But what I learned to recognize is when that happens to me, I need to work on Rhonda. Rhonda needs to grow. Rhonda needs to expand. Rhonda needs to stretch, because she's probably gotten too comfortable where she is right now. So I want to continually surround myself with people who are doing the things that I desire to do, and living the life that I desire to live, and have the team that I desire to have. So that would look like us going to convention, because we're going to learn so many things, you guys, when we're at convention. All of you that have been to convention, you know what I'm talking about. Like, there's nothing like it. So if you haven't done that, get your ticket. You've got, 10 months?
Yeah, don't use money as an excuse, because
No, to save your money. Every month to save money so that you can go. I mean, it is transformational, folks. So plan to be at convention every year. Like, that is just a part of your job, okay? So put the money aside now and plan to be there. But make sure you're on these webinars. You know what? The topic, you may go, I don't know. Or, it's Rhonda again. Somebody else talked, I would get on there. But you know what? I probably have something, or Frank, or whoever happens to be on here, they're going to have something of value, a nugget for you somewhere. So listen, get in there and listen every time somebody offers something like that. Go to live events. Every time there's a live event that you can drive to, if you're in driving distance, you need to have your butt there in a seat, paying attention, because somebody's going to sow good things to you. You're going to get good stuff out of it. Connect in the World Changers. My gosh, you know what? We're putting up posts every single day, and we told you we were going to do this for the next 6 weeks. How many of you are in there reading those posts and then participating?
5.
Get in there.
5.
Yeah, there's like 5 people. Seriously. And you may be reading them, give me a thumbs up. I don't care about that. I don't care about your thumbs up. Just being real here. Get in there and participate, because that's where we stretch and we learn and we grow. And every time that you have a question or you bring up a good point, then somebody else goes, oh yeah, I'm so glad they said
I
that.
never thought of it like
Yeah.
that. I mean, it's crazy.
So don't let it just be my voice and Frank's voice. We want to hear from everyone. We want it to be everyone.
And that's the thing. One of the things that is detrimental to your business is trying to do things the way everybody else does them, or doing the way you think everybody else does them, or doing the way you think that person does them because they're a Royal Crown Diamond or whatever. Someday I keep saying it, every time I think of it, I'm going to do it. I'm like, I'm going to teach a whole class sometime, and I'm going to just use cliches. Everything I say is going to be a cliche. But you got to do you, right? You do you. You can't do Melissa Pepping. You can't do Sarah Hopkins Johnson. You can't do Karen Hopkins. You can't do, whoever, Carol Garner. You got to do you. But you can do or find out what they did and how they did it and make it yours. You don't have to reinvent the wheel and do everything, brand spanking new, or make new graphics or make new classes. There's resources. Comparison is a thief. So don't compare yourself to somebody else, and don't stress out, because guess what, too? I'll tell you this other little secret that you might not know. It's never as good for them as you think it is. It's never as easy for them as you think it is. It's never that much more money than you think it is. It's not what you see on Facebook or Instagram or wherever you're looking at these people. It's never that glorious. And you guys all know that, really, but remember that. It's not that great. I'm not saying they're not making a lot of money, but they're working hard too.
So what we hear about and what we see most of the time is the macro work. That's what you guys see. That's what you see with Frank and I. That's what you see with other people. That's what people are seeing with you. What we don't see, what's going on behind the scenes, is that micro work. All the little things that add up. That we're spending our 20 minutes here and 30 minutes there and really digging in. So
you got to look at your downline every day. It doesn't take a long time, but you got to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You got to make those phone calls to people that need attention, or Facebook message, however you got to interact with. You got to pick up the phone and tell somebody hi. You got to write a birthday message. You got to send a postcard. There's little things you got to do in the background to keep those relationships building, not severing.
And don't say, oh gee, that's a long list, that's too many things for me to do. Again, a lot of you have been connected with Funnel Your Focus, and we've talked about it a lot. We've talked about it on calls, and we talked about it in the group, in the World Changer group. If you're not familiar, just start with this. Start with 10 to 20 minutes a day for the different categories. So prospecting, do 10 minutes a day. If that's all you can do, but do it every day, at least 6 days a week. 10 minutes of prospecting, you guys. 10 minutes of appreciating and working with the people that you've already got. Whether it's just saying, hey, gee, I see you. I know you're there. Thank you. Have you seen the new product? Do you know we have CBD? Whatever that is. And then if you are at a point, and some of you are and some of you are not, if you are at a point where you've got other people that are enrolling people and starting to build, then spend 10 or 20 minutes with them a day, working with stuff for them. So break that down. So if it's 10 minutes with each of those 3 groups, you guys, it's 30 minutes a day. We all can put in 30 minutes a day. So if it's 10 minutes and I've got a lunch break of 30 and I'm going to grab a sandwich or a salad and I'm going to make 2 phone calls while I'm having my lunch break, then so be it. Or I'm going to send some messages, or I'm going to write a couple of notes. You see what I'm saying?
You have to get up a half hour earlier to do
we
some
can
other stuff
squeeze
then.
that in if it's important enough to us. We can come up with 3 sets of 10-minute time spans every day. Like, I don't care what our situation is. We can do that. And then even better is 15 or 20 or 30, right? So some days maybe it's 10, some days maybe it's 30. 3 different sets of 30.
What you don't want to do is this is where human beings, this is our problem. We can rationalize and go, man, I had a rough day. I'm just going to bed, or I'm just going to lump in front of Netflix, whatever your thing is. And tomorrow, instead of doing 10, I'll do 20. And then tomorrow comes and you feel freaking worse, and now you're in front of Netflix again. Well, the next day I'll do 30. And it also becomes so big, like, crap, I can't do 4 hours in one day. You know what I'm saying? We do that. We play mind games with ourselves to get out of doing stuff that we don't really find pleasant for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And you got to break that habit. If you're going to do this as a business, it's got to be your own motivation and your own reason, not somebody else telling you what to do and how to do it.
Good. Stacy, that's awesome. She said she keeps note cards in her purse and she writes during her kids' martial arts class and waiting in the pickup line. Absolutely. That's phenomenal. Seriously, we can make phone calls. We can text if we're sitting in line somewhere, or we're waiting at a ball field or whatever, right? So we can find the time if it's important to us. The other really big thing is most of us don't have enough of a reason, enough of a why, enough of a vision or a dream to stay motivated. Now, we can listen to someone speak, or we can read a book, or we can, whatever, and get inspired, but the motivation has to come from within us. Like, we have to have that inner motivation. And so, for me, it's going to look one way. For you, it's going to look another. But my why, so to speak, continues to evolve. And so, you guys, we've been journeying through. Hopefully, you guys have been following this month for our 10-year oil anniversary, starting and seeing what that ripple looks like, and seeing how it's affected other people's lives, and down to all of us, everybody on here. We're all connected. So how big is our ripple, and what does that look like? And so for me, my vision is to have a really huge ripple. And what that looks like in my mind is having influence so that I can help invoke change to the healthcare system in the United States. So that's become, my why's transformed all the way from restoring my own health to now helping people, well, not just in the US, but around the world, but in the US particularly, to change our healthcare system, you guys, because it stinks, it's broken. So it just depends, and that's really important to me. So it's important enough that I keep doing what I'm doing, even during those times where I get frustrated, or I feel like I'm beating my head against a wall, or I need to work harder on Rhonda, whatever that looks like. So you understand what I'm saying when I say that when we don't have a big enough vision or a big enough why. Maybe it's to get our family out of debt. Maybe it's to pay for kids to go to college, whatever that is. But we've got to dream board. Absolutely, we've got to have that. We've got to have that. And one of these days, before too long, I'm going to get on here and I'm going to do one of those, a visioneering thing, because I love doing that and helping people to get in that mindset, because we forgot how to imagine. We forgot how to dream.
All this stuff is intertwined, man. It's weird.
Yeah, it all goes together.
You can't do one thing without doing some of all the other stuff.
We talked about early on pivoting, and really, you guys be willing to pivot. And if I think we all should have an accountability partner or a coach or both. So again, Crossline makes great, because there's no.
You can talk about us and we won't.
Yeah, you don't feel any pressure. Like, there's no pressure when you're working Crossline at all. So, but be willing to be coachable then. Because we just have to be coachable, or just useless. We have to be willing to be open to constructive criticism sometimes, and being willing to pivot rather than quit. And if you ever start feeling like, oh, gee, this isn't worth it, I don't know, but isolation is a tactic of the enemy, in my opinion. So if you begin to feel isolated, or cut off, or so frustrated and like this, that it works for everybody else, it doesn't work for me, reach out to someone. I promise you there are people who care about you and who will help you and take you by the hand and journey with you. So don't ever do that. Don't ever feel like you're on your own. You have to show up, you guys. You have to show up. So we know that for 30 minutes, twice a month, we're going to have a business webinar. Like, show up, be here, participate, show up in World Changers, show up in Anointing Nations, for goodness sakes. Some of you are great. I see your names. I see you posting things. I see you commenting. Yay, kudos, hallelujah, thank you. If you're not doing it, do it. You have something of value to share with people. Get out there and share it. And you know what? If you consider yourself a business builder, which I'm assuming you're on here that you do, or you want to be
thinking about it,
your team needs to see you posting in that group. They need to see you making posts, because in their eyes, that elevates you.
It's like one of the things we learned early on from a network marketing person was that the person at the front of the room speaking is the one making the money. The person on stage is making the money. In our virtual realm in Facebook, on this Facebook page, the people talking and offering solutions and answers are the people at the front of the room. So when your group sees you in there participating and helping and wanting to forward everything, they're gonna see you as a leader.
Absolutely.
And it might not be a conscious decision; it's just subconscious. A lot of this stuff.
Absolutely.
So,
but show up and treat your business like a business. Take it seriously. So whatever mind work you need to do, and I mean, like if you need to shift your thinking about your Young Living business, then do it. Write down and stick it on your mirror or something so that you see it. Affirm it. Speak it out loud. Get energy work revolving it. Whatever you need to do, do it.
Here's the key. You got to do something, right? And one of the things you need to do is when you talk to people and invite them to try a product, or invite them to a class, or invite them to a webinar, whatever, you need to invite people all the time. And then the next thing you need to do is you need to keep track of the people you invited. So keep a whiteboard or scratch paper. I invited 7 people this week to whatever, and keep track of that and see the next week, and you'll find out really quick that when you invite 28 people in a week, as opposed to 7, you're going to see you have more interaction and more enrollments that week than you are the other week when you had 7. So if you start keeping some simple stats of who you invited and how many you invited, how many came, how many tried, how many said no, how many said maybe, how many said later. If you'll keep track of that on a weekly basis or even a monthly basis, you'll see what's working and what's not working in a few months. But what you can't do is you can't just blow it off because it didn't work this time, or this week was a total bust, so I'm not doing it. I'm not doing that again. You got to be consistent. And you need to hear the stories. You need to hear there's a Diamond Facebook group. Somebody started a thread, and I haven't really looked at it too much, but it was like, how many people did you personally enroll? And it literally goes from like diamonds and above who've enrolled 12 people in their Young Living career to diamonds who have enrolled 1,700 people in their Young Living career. And regardless, they're both diamonds and they're both making a nice check with totally different circumstances. Mm-hmm. Melissa Pepping comes from a town that had 80 people, or has 80 people, or 60 people, some really low number of people in the town. So when people say, I don't know anybody and I don't live in a big town, well, that excuse is gone. If Melissa Pepping can do it. If you say you don't have time, well, guess what? Don't take this, Lauren. I'm not being facetious. I guess I'm being a little facetious. You're not busier than us. So you can make time just like we make time. And the other thing to think about, I'm going to use Melissa Pepping again as an example. This is why you can't disregard the people in your team that haven't done something. And if those of you that don't know, Melissa Pepping invented Savvy Minerals and sold it to Young Living. She's RCD, or Crown Diamond. Blonde, big girl that comes from a town of 60 people. She went inactive twice And it was the third time she came back and decided she was building a business. So if you have people that used to be on your team that aren't on your team, and Young Living offers you this promotion and say, hey, you get the free Thieves foaming hand soap, that's worth, I forget what it's worth.
$11 or
$12.
$12.
Yeah. So that's a $12 item for somebody to activate for $50, 50 PV. They get $12 free. Guess what? That's 25% of that. Of that 50. So that's a good deal for them. That's like a 25% off, right? So don't be afraid to contact the people that fell out of your group because they might be the next Melissa Pepin. And we're too proud to say, man, I let that person down and I didn't follow up good with them, so now I feel stupid and I'm not going to go talk to them again. But if you do that, what happens to you? And Ron just talked about it before. What happens to your ripple if you don't talk to that person? Right? Who knows how many lives they could have affected if they would have reactivated and really had a great testimony to some product that's new they never tried because they haven't been around for a year. So you guys got to make things happen. When Young Living offers stuff like that, you can't just blow it off and go, I only have 4 people that went inactive, and I really don't like that guy, and I really don't like that girl, and I think this one's an idiot, and that one broke. You got to just offer it to them. Maybe crap, they said yes already once. They liked it for a reason. They signed up. Go get them. Circumstances might have changed since they decided they weren't going to buy stuff. They might not have tried the makeup. Maybe give them a sample of some new blend. But anyway, sorry, I'm going off on a tangent.
No, you're good. So those are the reasons, you guys. That's what separates the people who are successful to the people who aren't. So we make it a lot more complicated, and we want to believe it's a lot more difficult than that, but it's not.
Show value, be consistent, be persistent, don't be prideful, don't be embarrassed, don't be scared.
And when you need help, reach out for help, for goodness sakes. Never.
I'll get on the phone and call your inactive people with you. They don't know me, but I'll call them. Because I don't care if they tell me no, I'm not going to reactivate. It doesn't matter to me. It really doesn't matter to you, but you got to give them the option.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we're probably over time, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, we've been yapping a little bit. We've gone off on a tangent.
No, we're good.
I know.